Hello, I'm Meganova, and this is Pillow Talk, where I talk about a TV series, movie, or whatever that I have recently watched, and just give my opinion on it. So, I just watched, or just finished, season one of Agent Carter in my Marvel marathon in my attempt to getting up to date. I won't be getting fully up to date before I go watch the movie. That is physically impossible unless I become Doctor Strange and learn how to bend time to my will. Um just finished season 1 and overall I thought it was pretty damn good. I took a few notes. Only started taking notes at episode 4, and I didn't even take that many overall. But there was a few things that I wanted to make sure that I remembered to talk about. So one thing that did irk me a little bit was the fact that a lot of people just seemed a bit too dickish. Like, I know the point is, oh, we're back in the late 40s and women still aren't taken very seriously in the workforce and whatever. But I thought a lot of the men just seemed they just came off too much like assholes, or at least there seemed to be a bit too much focus on the ones who did act like assholes. It just irked me a little bit, but they do counteract it with Peggy. She ends up, and a show like this, you can't help but get a little bit political with the whole subject matter, since a lot of it is very girl power focused. So I feel like I have to address that aspect to the show. But even then, I think that aspect of the show was mostly fairly well handled. Like, at times it felt like it became a bit much, but then you also had like the the landlady of the Griffith, where Peggy starts to live a few episodes in, and she is like she's what I imagine a lot of these like hyper feminists are. Like, oh, you can't be having sex early, and actually, no, she's not even that. Like, she's kind of a combination of one of the like modern day hyper feminists, but also a conservative. Like, she's like, really, oh, you gotta stay away from men, but it's not because men necessarily are bad. It's because, oh, you shouldn't sully yourself early on or whatever. It's she was a bit annoying. At least we don't have to deal with her anymore. Not that she died, but just she doesn't live there anymore at the end of season 1, which I am absolutely okay with. But yeah, I mean, and yes, there is gonna be spoilers. Will try and remember to put that in the title. It's gonna be spoilers. I'm gonna be talking about stuff that actually goes on, not just vaguely if I liked it or not. Overall, I did like it. It was pretty good. Um, I made a note just feminist propaganda, but I was mostly just leading into me talking about these things that I think I think overall it's pretty good, and it's a good way of showing girl power, or whatever you want to call it. because Peggy never comes off as a Mary Sue. She never comes off as, oh, she always has the right answer. She always knows what to do. It's not that. Well, the reason why we know that she knows what to do is because we know what she knows. But a lot of the characters she's working with, she has to keep some secrets from, and based on that, they start suspecting her of certain things. Because she had to lie and stuff in order to get stuff done. And even then, we see a lot of times Jarvis. He's a lot of like he kind of grounds her a bit, like when she gets a bit too up her own ass-ish, I guess you could say. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is storming outside right now. It's absolutely pissing outside right now. What? Oh yeah, and there was a Stan Lee cameo. I think it was in episode 4 where he is getting his shoes shined next to Howard Stark. But yeah, the main plot is basically that Captain America recently died. We know he didn't really. Holy shit! It's fucking intense out there. I can't imagine that you can't hear this. I'm sorry, this is gonna get into the video. I don't really feel like re-recording it. Holy shit, I'm happy I'm inside. Okay, but enough about that. And for the thing is, I don't remember all the details because I watched episode 1 like years ago, or a year ago. At least it was long ago. I watched episode 1. Though I did watch a little bit of episode 1 just to get a bit of a reminder. The main plot is basically that the... Oh yeah, it's some people have broken into one of Howard Stark's vaults and have stolen a lot of his inventions from in there, and they're starting to try and make weapons with them. And it's starting to smear his name because there's some conspiracy theories that, oh, maybe Stark is actually working with the enemy and he sold them willingly, and there's all kinds of shit like that. So Peggy's main thing is that she has to go into the SSR. Well, she's already a part of the SSR, but she has to go into another department. And basically has to be like a double agent for Stark and try to clear his name. And... oh yeah, I didn't get done with Peggy and her not being a Mary Sue. Like, very often Jarvis, who, as you know, is Stark's butler, and yes, he has the same name as Tony Stark's virtual butler. Fuck. Okay, and they work a lot together. They work very well together, too. It actually started to... it was a bit funny, because I got reminded of... I remember I watched The Nostalgia Critic. I know there's all the controversy. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. And it seems like it's kind of died down, so I don't think I will make a video talking about it, but who knows. But I remember watching his video on The Avengers, which isn't Marvel's The Avengers, but apparently a movie based off of this old English TV show. Um, and where he mentions something like that the main draw of it seems to be just that, oh, they are always talking very politely to each other and they're always very well dressed. And that seems to be about it. They don't have much personality. I feel like, and it was also a man and a woman working together here. In that old Avengers thing. But here, basically, Jarvis and Peggy have that dynamic of being like, they're always very well dressed, they always speak very proper, but they actually have personalities and are interesting characters, so they're actually, interesting to follow, which it does quite a bit, So, but yeah, but a lot of the time she has to she has to overcome a lot of prejudice in the workplace because obviously a lot of people are going to be like, oh, she's a woman in this agency. We're just basically going to use her as a glorified secretary. Which, again, I think it's a bit too on the nose and a bit bullshit, but I guess they're trying to get their point across, but I still feel like it feels like it's a bit much. She is an agent. She has gone through the same kind of training and the same kind of things that the men had to go through in order to get to the position she is at right now. So I really don't see why it's so hard for them to give her the respect that she deserves. Or at least give her a chance. She has to work pretty hard for them to understand that they should give her a chance. And I guess it lines up with all the feminist propaganda that, oh, females have to work 3 times as hard to get to the same place as a man or whatever. And I don't necessarily doubt that women have to do more to prove themselves in certain aspects. But it just seemed a bit much here. Though, over time, she does prove herself to them, so they do understand that they can trust her, that she actually knows her shit. But then we come over to the other bit where I'm like, the way she is going about it is the way I think feminism should be. And I know I'm a man, I can't talk about this because I don't have a vagina, blah, and all that bullshit. But I don't give a shit, I'm gonna come with my opinion anyways. Fucking sue me. This is how I think feminism should work, that instead of demanding that the world change to suit you, you just need to prove that you are worth the respect. You can't demand respect and not show anything for it. I'm not gonna respect you if you just tell me to respect you. You have to give me something to respect. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If a man came up to me and demanded that I respect him without giving me any kind of incentive to, I'm not going to. I'm actually going to respect him less for it, because he is demanding things that he does not deserve. I'm not going to respect him until he proves to me that he is worth respecting. And that's the way she's going about it. There are times where some other person is like, I'm going to stand up to these people for you. And she's like, no, don't. Because that's only going to hurt my position and make me look worse because somebody else is trying to talk my case. And I'm just like, yes, somebody actually understands this concept. A lot of people don't seem to understand the concept, and it's all like, oh, I am going to talk on behalf of these people, even though I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. And I know that seems hypocritical with the things I just said, that, oh, I'm gonna give my opinion, but at least I'm only giving my opinion. I'm not demanding that things should change. I'm just saying, this is how I personally think it should be. I'm not saying that you have to change to suit my tastes before anyone gets on my case for that shit. Okay. That became a bit more political than I planned for, but I do have some fairly strong opinions on these subjects, and this particular series seemed like a pretty good time to start airing some of these opinions. So, I don't know if I want to go too much into like what happens in each episode. Though I will comment on one thing. In one of the around in the middle of the show, you see this all-girls training camp, which I think is the same facilities, because it's in Russia, and I think it's the same facilities that also trained Black Widow. I'm not sure, but it would seem to make sense. Like this all-girls school where these little girls are basically trained to become assassins. Like, it seems pretty obvious that this is the place, if not the place, at least a place similar to where Black Widow was trained. And you see this because there is this woman who was a girl being trained at this place who starts fucking around with things here, and she's working together with Ichkova. What was his name again? I found it here. Ivchenko, that was it, Ivchenko. And she works together with him because, you know, they gotta bring down the American pig dogs, you know. And they are working together to try and bring down American shit like that. Or, well, more specifically Howard Stark, because of this gas he accidentally developed. Like, he wanted to make a thing that would be able to keep... well, he was commissioned by the US military to make a thing that would keep the soldiers awake. Make them... I think it was... I don't remember if it was keep them awake, or if it was something that would make them not need sleep. Don't remember which one it was, but apparently it backfired and ended up not working the way it was supposed to. So it ended up basically making people psychotic when they were exposed to it. Which leads into this scene in a cinema at the end of episode 7 that is pretty gruesome still. Like, this particular show had been fairly light on, like, gore and stuff. Like, it didn't become, like, Saw levels of gore or anything, but it did become pretty gruesome that you saw people starting to, like, fucking claw at each other. Like, at one point, you see a guy grab another guy by the head and start pushing his eyes in. Like, it got pretty graphic at some point. Like, holy crap. Also, another thing I thought was really cool in this show was that the chief of police was actually doing shit. Like, I've at least from what I tend to see, it seems like a lot of chiefs of police in these kinds of TV shows, they just sit around in the office and complain at the loose cannon or whatever shit. Like, they don't seem to do much beside, like, paperwork and shit. But you actually see this guy going out and doing his own actual investigation and shit like that. Like, he's not just a passive idiot sitting in his office and just being a dick. He's actually doing shit, which I thought was nice to see, because it often annoys me when you see police being portrayed as being completely incompetent and only our heroes knows what to do. No, they know what they're doing. They're not idiots. I mean, yeah, of course they get in the way of some of Peggy's investigations, but of course there's going to be some kind of opposition, and the whole point is that she is basically a double agent in here, so of course there's gonna be roadblocks at points. Like, you can't avoid that. That's just how it is. Um, but they did manage it fairly well. It was not bad. So I can't really complain, honestly. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about season 1. I generally enjoyed it, and I am looking forward to seeing how the things that happen in season 2 will somehow lead into the rest of the MCU. And I'm looking forward to also getting into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. next. But I might get to finish Agent Carter today. I mean, we have 10 episodes, each are 40 minutes. But I also have to raid tonight. So I might not be done with it until tomorrow, but I will be binging through it as much as possible. But yeah, thanks for watching. And if you wanna find me on any of my social medias, they are down in the description. There's my Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. And also my Patreon if you feel like giving me a few shillings to help me get by. Yeah, that's it for this time. I will be back as soon as I can with my thoughts on season 2, and I will see you out on the high seas. Yar!